And I think the biggest talking point for the Who Dat Nation right now is Tyler Shough. Right now, he's the only one not signed to his agreement. This is nothing new. We've went through a couple of our former second round draft picks from years past who are basically hadn't come under contract. He's basically trying to wait it out and negotiate to get extra guaranteed money. That's what Tyler's doing. That's a smart thing going forward. But there's some hesitation or people thinking that that situation might not get cleared up before we jump into camp. You know, we'll see how it all works. But me personally, I think I'm going to kind of be on the positive side. I think over the last several times, and maybe this could be, from a historic standpoint, we've seen this happen before, right, fam? We've seen guys get right up to the line like a couple days before, and then all of a sudden, they get done. Perhaps the Saints recognize this strategy. Like, oh man, we've been through this before. We can kind of wait this period out. Perhaps this kind of been something the Saints kind of got a little lazy on, and perhaps Tyler might have to push the envelope because of the previous situations when this occurs. You want to hope that he gets there on time because, listen, my estimation is I see Spencer Rattler just slightly ahead of him. And you don't want, and I know you want to get your money right first. So I know he wants to get that done first, but you also do not want to put yourself at a disadvantage in terms of reps. You're in a competition for a starting NFL job, right? You don't want to do that. So it's kind of, he's in a kind of a pinch motion trying to get the money versus trying to make sure he's there on time, make sure he gets advantage of all of those reps, being he's coming in as a rookie. So we'll see. What's up, Jay Huntsberry? Shout out to you, fam. Appreciate you, Trey. What's up, brother Trey? How you doing, sir? Much love. Appreciate y'all. Y'all hit the like button for me and the share button as well, fam. We're gonna go and do that. What's up, Heem? Says Saints make the Super Bowl in Atlanta. Okay, yes. You know what? That would be fantastic, bro. If the Saints can, get to the Super Bowl in Atlanta when they held it and we win the Super Bowl in the city. Could you imagine? Could you imagine that? Like they had an opportunity to do that the other year. Last year wasn't down here last year. I forget. So when it ain't, if we ain't in it, I don't give a damn. But they had an opportunity, they failed. So if we can get right and get there, man, and win a Super Bowl in the city of Atlanta, could you imagine how great that would be, man? On top of all the other stuff that we do to them, right? That would be hysterical. That'd be awesome. All right, so anyway, fam, y'all hit the like button for me. Let's jump into these articles. I got several news items I want to cover with you guys in this. Yeah, Big Low would lose his mind, and I would be there with a camera to capture it live. All right, Saints Tyler Shough facing lose-lose situation, according to Sports Illustrated. Let's jump right into it. Shout out to Kyle T. Mosley and his team about the Saints with the holdout. What is going on, says the writer. Shough is in danger of missing the start of the camp due to a new trend that has second rounders holding out to negotiate guaranteed money. The top two selections in the second round secured fully guaranteed deals, establishing a benchmark that other second rounders like Shough are reluctant to undercut. Now, his situation is distinct, though. That's because he's in the middle of a serious QB competition with Spencer. So if it's a long holdout, that could hurt a bit. But there is some people thinking that this could be something going on that could be that could run a risk of happening. And shout out to fan sides, Darian Gray. So this is risk that Shough may not want to take. It doesn't mean he'll sign a contract before training camp. But the odds of a holdout are lower for Shough than other second rounders, while a receiver can hold out and find his way back into the rotation. It's just one quarterback who can start. That condition will weigh on Tyler Shough's mind with considering the decision, and it's not something his peers have to ponder. This is indeed true. I mean, like I said, it's a tough decision nonetheless. Carr's retirement, though, Carr, gets out the way. Shough has an opportunity to walk in to a starting NFL job with the Saints, a patient head coach that's willing to work with him, a very talented team. And we've said this before about the New Orleans Saints. And the fact that this team is not a bad team, let's not get it misconstrued. We've talked about that all the time, haven't we, family? What's up, Black Major? We talked about that all the time when we made mention of the fact that this team lacked leadership. It lacked a guy that would bring accountability consistently. a guy that knew what he was doing. No, we had this other buffoon running around here tearing up and sabotaging himself. Then when he gets fired, I didn't fail. They just didn't want me anymore. That kind of logic is what really wrecked what we had. And I had to pause for a second to do that. What's up, Jones Jr.? Shout out to you, brother. I had to literally pause for a second, fam, to kind of wrap my mind around the stupidity of that quote. I was like, wow, that was incredibly dumb. Out of all the stupid things that we known him to say, that was probably number one. Y'all put in top 3 dumb things that the possum said in his tenure here. I'm pretty sure that's probably number one. Besides, we gonna keep doing what we doing when the Saints was getting mollywopped in that Arizona game. They stopped him right before halftime, right going into halftime, and he said, what you gonna do? We're gonna keep doing the same thing. Remember that? Y'all, that's number one. But outside of that, wow. But yeah, this is the reason. This is what I'm saying. What's up, Bev? Shout out to Beverly. That's what I was saying, fam, pretty much about leadership situation, right? We was a team with leadership. And I was disappointed last year in the fact that we had leaders on the team and they were just brainwashed by the losing stuff that was going on. Like we had leaders like, all these other guys, who our leaders are, our team captains. And instead of like, tearing the walls down and be like, just, going at as a unified front, this type of stuff, they just kind of placated and just went to sleep and started singing us old spirituals from back in the day. They started trying to have Bible class with us and all. We don't, hey man, you ain't qualified there. No. We don't want to hear all of that. Why aren't you not doing your job? We don't want to hear all this stuff. And you see what I'm saying? But that's what bad leadership take you. So I would give Kellen Moore a hell of a lot more credit than that other buffoon we have, simply because he's a guy that knows what he's doing. I think he has more, more of a temperament and an understanding of what to do. Like having an opportunity to build the offense around what your philosophy is, that'll help any one of our young guys, whether it's Tyler or Spencer. They're going to have a strong offensive line and a running attack, which the Saints are good. That's what I was telling people. I'm like, I don't understand why they keep trying to put the Saints as the worst team in the NFL. That is not the case. These people don't pay attention to this team like we do. They're too busy trying to look at all these teams and play like they know what the hell every team is doing, when that's not even possibly the case. That's why you see these guys jumping around talking about these different teams. You can't pay attention to all of these teams the way we pay attention to our team, because I don't do all that other stuff. I know what my team is about. I've always known what my team is about, because this is my team. This is what we do, right? So I know for a fact the Saints are not a bottom 5 team in terms of talent. Statistically, they're underachieved for many different reasons. But I would have to group a lot of that because of the non-leadership that we seen displayed. We had that dumb head coach here. And now that we got that out of the way, we can get back to doing what we were supposed to be doing, which is running the football, playing defense, and being steady on special teams. It's as simple as that, right? We're not trying to rework the wheel. We're not trying to, do all this old fanciful stuff. We're not trying to create something that we don't need to create. We just need to be steady, consistent, and stop. And then also a lot of that bad leadership led to a lot of brain neutral football. It was a lot of dumb football, a lot of unintelligent football, a lot of pre-snap penalty stuff going on. It was just, and you got to nip that stuff in the bud. A strong leader know to go and nip that stuff in the bud. We just couldn't do that. We just didn't do that last year. So I attribute a lot of that to the fact that we simply didn't have a brain on top of this thing. But we got all of these fantastic players that'll just do so many great things. Whether it's Elvin, whether it's Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Demario Davis, Tyrann Mathieu. We got Justin Reed in here. Youngsters stepping up. Alante, Kool-Aid. Some of these young, Carl Granderson, Chase Young, doing their thing. Brian Brissy, the young guys like Tolly and Kelvin Banks Jr. is going to be a stud. Jawan Johnson going to step up. So it's like the Saints, some really good players, but it's what you do with these guys in terms of setting them up into a system where we could be successful. That was not the case for the last 4 years with the black and gold. And Kellen Moore brings excitement here because of the fact that we seen what his offense did with the Eagles last year that got him a bowl. We don't have to look down 3 or 4 years to say, well, 3 or 4 years ago, the guy won it. Actually won it last year as an offensive coordinator. That excitement carries over. We have good players in place that we could mimic a lot of the success of that offense. And defensively, I like what Staley's going to bring. So we're going to kind of delve into many of these topics in this show. So anyway, let's keep it rolling, man, in this thing. So although Shuck is facing somewhat of a lose-lose situation at the moment, if he doesn't hold out long enough, he probably lose out on some guaranteed money. But if he holds out for more money, he might lose significant ground to battle for QB1. Indeed. And I don't consider it, and I hear what the writer's saying, shout out to him. I don't consider it a lose-lose situation for Tyler Shough because I personally think being that Tyler Shough is the handpicked a person that Kellen Moore, the new head coach, is coming in with family. I personally think that he will be patient with Tyler. He really would. If it's a close competition, and Tyler Shough, that if he comes in and he goes and just takes it and stuff like that, I don't see that happening because I know it's a learning curve for him to pick up the game, whether he was in college for 7 years or not. It's not the same speed. It's not the same style of play. And most quarterbacks, be they Peyton Manning, Joe Montana, whoever you name, the best in the business, when they stepped in those doors to become a pro, fam, they had all kind of problems, doing their thing. Wasn't Peyton Manning, didn't he win one game his rookie year or something like that? 1 game, 2 games? It wasn't very many, as great as he is. So it's going to be a learning curve, even though he's a 26-year-old, going to be a 26-year-old rookie. He was in college for 7 years. It's still going to be a learning curve, despite the fact that he is mature. It might not be as long as some, but it's still going to be somewhat of a curve. Well, Spencer Rattler got a year on him, and Spencer is a heady player. He's going to be there. But if it's all Tyler really has to do is keep it close. And if it's close, I really do think that they'll give it to Tyler Shough simply because he's his handpicked guy. Number two, he's going to be 26 years old. He's a second-round draft pick, so it's a lot of stuff going on with that. And I do think that if it's close, Tyler going to get it. Only way Spencer win it is he got to hit it, and he got to leave no room for error. Y'all know that. You know that. So lose, I know he got to get your money, and I think sooner or later there'll still be a room for him to perform because there is nobody else that'll be competing against just him. It's just him and Spencer. Jake Hayner's not even in the equation and competing for a starting job. The only way it is a case is if, God forbid, we have some type of injuries that occur with one of our young guys at the top 1-2, and then things kind of change. They do change like they always do, right? All right. Anyway, and let's just kind of move into it, man, into this one right here. This article right here, and it kind of talks about the money right here. A contract details revealed for the second-round pick, Tyler Shough, with their meaning, what it could be after former Louisville QB Tyler Shough was selected by the Saints in the second round of the draft. His contract was revealed, according to Spotrac. Shough is projected to sign a 4-year deal at just under $11 million. This past season was the only one that Shough played with the Cardinals after playing at Oregon and Texas Tech in his college career. He had the best season of his career by far. Part of that was due to the fact that in 2024 season marked the first time in his career that Tyler had played in more than 7 games. He appeared in 12. He finished with over 3,100 yards, a passing completion of almost 63%, along with 23 touchdowns against just 6 picks. So a lot of goodness, a lot of positive stuff about Tyler Shough, man. And we'll see what happens with this thing. Because like I said, I think he's heady enough, even if he misses a practice or two. Missing a practice or two, I don't think that hurts him. Maybe a week's worth of practices does definitely kind of hurt him. But I think that Coach Moore will be incredibly patient with Tyler Shough. I'm going to keep it all the way funky with y'all on that.